এখানে বসে আছি, ঠিক আছে? এরকম করে বসছি, এরকম করে না? ঘুরে দেবে, তুই একটু চেপে থাক, আমি করে দেখতে পাবো না কিছু বললে। আমার বাবার লেখা আছে, আবার দেখে না আমার দিকে থাকে, এরকমভাবে থাকবো না তো, কোডটা দেখতে হবে আমাকে। হ্যাঁ, আমাকে এভাবে দেখতে হবে, আমাকে সাইড করে থাকতে হবে, দিক করে। হ্যাঁ, একটু হালকা করে সাইড করতে পারিস। হ্যাঁ, এরকম বা এরকম করে দিলেও হবে।
একদম জায়গাটা বলে দাও, আমি সেরকম নিই। আমার মনে হয় আমি যেটা করছি সেটাই।
আমি তখন টানাটানি করবো, লেখাগুলো একটু জুম করে দিস, কন্ট্রোল প্লাসটা একটু দেখ।
That I know, you see command plus, I know.
চায়ের সব জিনিসপত্র দেখাবে। আছে জিজ্ঞেস করে অ্যাঙ্গুলার 50 নাকি নিউ ফিচার এসেছে 69, অ্যাঙ্গুলার লেটার ভার্সন 16 বলে আমার মনে নেই। ওটা কি করে সার্চ করলে চ্যাটজিপিটি করে দেওয়া কাট আউট মনে 2021 পর্যন্ত করা আছে না, ওটা ব্রাউজার করে দিবি প্রবলেম হবে। বুঝতে পারলিস? পড়ে যাবি, তুই ডিফল্ট সার্চ পড়েই করা দেয়, এই তো আধ ঘন্টার জন্য 20টা সার্চ না, দেখ এখন ডিফল্ট করা আছে তো, তখন ব্রাউজিং করে দিবি, দিয়ে সার্চটা করবি।
আমি এখন থেকেই ব্রাউজিং,
না ব্রাউজিং করলে সবই ব্রাউজার থেকে করতে হবে, রেসপন্স ঠিকঠাক দেয় না। তুই এমনি করে রাখ, সবই পেয়ে যাবো। যদি ওই রিসেন্ট টপিকের উপর চায় তখন ওটা
তখনই ওটা ব্রাউজিংয়ের উপর করবে।
এটাকে সরিয়ে দিয়ে কি অন্য চেয়ার নেবো?
কেন?
জায়গা যাচ্ছে না তো ওটা।
জলটাকে নিচে নামিয়ে দাও, ফোনটাকে সাইলেন্ট করো।
ফোনটা সরিয়ে রাখি।
জলটাকে নিচে করে দাও, করে পড়ে যাবে, হাত পাত না থেকে সংশোধনটাকে করে রাখো। কোনো কিছু ভাববে না, ওই
ফোনটা থাক, চেষ্টা পাই না। করে যাবো নাকি? ঠিক করে জানাটা বসতাম। ওকে, স্টপ। হ্যাঁ, Hi, Mona Lisa.
Hi, Arghya. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, let's just wait for others to join.
Yeah, sure.
And then we can continue.
Yeah, sure. তো টাইপ করি না আওয়াজ হবে।
Okay, I guess. So I'll be starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have your ID proof with you?
Yeah, I have my driving license with me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take it in front of the camera. Let's see if you can see it or not.
Yes, just hold it a little left so that I can see your face as well.
Okay, now is it fine?
Yeah, just hold for a second.
Please let me know once the screenshot is done.
Mm-hmm. Can you shift your face a little bit to the side? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just yeah, done.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. Let's start. So
Yes, please.
how how many years of experience do you have?
I have around 7.9 years of experience total.
Okay, as a front-end developer?
Yeah, I have majority of my time spent as a front end only, but nowadays I work as a full stack and DevOps engineer as well. But my career
Okay.
started with Angular. It was 2015 with Angular JS. Then currently working with Angular 13, and along with that I
Okay.
worked with Node and also Azure DevOps and other things as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So, like, can you please elaborate on your role in your current project and what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my current project, I'm working as a full stack developer. So
Mm-hmm.
here I need to first get the requirement from the business, also align those things into the Jira, create the epic story, align it to the different team members. I have a team of 6 members. They are
Mm-hmm.
junior, someone is mid junior, like that. So we need to distribute the work to them. We follow a agile process day by day. Wise we need to have a scrum call every morning. We have a 15 minutes of status call, and I need to work for the tickets that is assigned to me. I'll parallelly also help the juniors also, and gradually, so these things are these tech stacks we are using as a front end Angular, and also another project we have in React also, and in the backend we are using Node and GraphQL, Mongoose, and Express in this project. So Node is the backend. And parallelly, we
Okay.
also need to migrate things to the Git labs and Git Jenkins using CI/CD pipelines, using Argo's
Okay.
CDs and all.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a
Mm-hmm.
overall roles and responsibility from my end. Along with the
Okay.
development, need to manage other works also for the project.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about front end.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay. So I'll start from JavaScript.
Yes.
So have you worked on it?
Yeah,
You have a
JavaScript we
yes.
have worked on it. Everything JavaScript, right? Angular, React, whatever it is.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how or what are the ways to declare a variable?
Yeah, so generally before
Mm.
the year 2015, there was only var. So using that, we
Mm-hmm.
used to declare the variable. But after
Right.
2015, ECMAScript 6 came, ES6. So then let and const also introduced. So we can now declare three ways: var, const, and let.
Okay. So what is the difference between
Yeah.
let and var?
There are differences. So, like to summarize that, see, if you declare any variable as a var, then what will
Mm-hmm.
happen is, so it will be declared in the, it will be hoisted. Like we need to understand how the
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript works in the background. Like everything in the JavaScript is called an execution cycle. So,
Mm-hmm.
like let's say I declare a variable var console log a, let's say, then next line var a equal to 10. So before even the initialization happens, so once in the
Mm-hmm.
execution cycle, JavaScript defines a special term called undefined, you can say, like special during the memory allocation cycle. So in case of
Mm-hmm.
var, this kind of the hoisting happens. Okay, even if you don't declare any variable without any name, that also will be declared as a global variable, and that happens. But now come to the difference between let and const. So one difference is that, so we cannot const, we cannot change that. Like if I assign something as a const, we cannot change that. But first, let me talk about first as a hosting perspective. So in case of let
Mm-hmm.
and const, what happens is that like before its actual declarations, we cannot
Mm-hmm.
access them. But behind the scene, actually hosting happens. We call that as a temporal dead zones. We cannot access those
Okay.
things. Okay.
Okay.
There are other differences like in terms of redeclarations, in terms of like we cannot change the variable const something. If we declare, we cannot change that, modify that. Those things are there, but main difference is that hosting perspective only.
Okay. So what you're saying is if I declare a var,
Hmm.
uh, first I do a console log and then I declare it. After that,
It
in
will
the
get
next line, if
undefined.
I declare.
First time it will get undefined. The reason I mentioned,
Okay.
because of hosting
Hmm.
concept, JavaScript will assign a undefined during its memory creation phase. In the execution
Mm-hmm.
phase, it will be assigned with particular 10. But before that, I printed, so it will be definitely printing undefined. But after a equal
Okay.
to 10, if we print, it will be 10
Hmm.
only, because that time execution happened and I have 10 in the variable a. In case of
Okay.
that.
Okay, so what is the difference? If I do console log for two variables and declare them after that console log, one as let and another as var.
Can I share my screen and then I can
Yeah, yeah,
explain
yeah. You
better?
can do that. Yes, yes.
So let me open any JS fiddle or anything. Okay.
Sure.
I'll not run that. I'll tell you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So what I am writing is that console.log a. Okay. For example, something I'll assign that. And then
Hmm.
next line, I'm also doing console.log b. I'll assign b
Your
with b.
screen is not visible.
Oh, is
Have
it
you
so?
shared it?
Is it
Mm-hmm.
so? Oh, wait. So I am sharing my enter screen. Yeah, it was fault from mine. Now let me know if you can see the screen. You should be able to see the screen. Please let me know.
Sure, it's visible now.
So what I am trying to achieve, as you have mentioned, so
Mm-hmm.
I am assigning one variable with var, one with like let. Okay. So here what will
Mm-hmm.
happen? Here undefined will come, but in this case you are not supposed to do that because it is not even defined. So we
Mm-hmm.
are trying to access in its temporal dead zone. Line number one
Mm-hmm.
to five, the temporal dead zone for B. If I write it
Mm-hmm.
here, I am supposed to get access it. Even the error message also says the same. You can see even this editor says the same, but I also mentioned the same. So that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is undefined because as
Okay.
I mentioned, here it will refined error I'll get.
Right.
And here we'll definitely get a b equal to 20, and if I console log for a also in this line, I'll be getting a equal to 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now suppose I put this line number 1 to 5 inside a if block.
Line number
Okay.
1 to 5
Yeah.
after 5, right?
Inside mm, this whole thing inside an if block.
Okay.
Mm.
Let's say if true
Yes.
something, and you
Then
wanted to print this,
right.
correct?
Mm. Right. And now outside this if is inside a function.
This if is inside a function.
Mm-hmm. Function name test. Yeah. And now what if I want to print console of A and B,
So
console.log
let me
A and B
understand. So
outside this if? Hmm.
outside this if, here only,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So I have a, and I need to call the function.
So like yeah, that will be called. So what will be the output of this line number 7 and 8?
See, here
Hmm.
a different way execution context will work. So thing is now it's a function, right? So what happens is that parallelly, let me explain you also in this way. So during the let's say this is my call stack, okay? This is my call stack, for example. This is my call stack. So initially what will happen, the line number 12 test is called, right? So it is
Hmm.
having two things. One is like memory execution and like memory allocation, then executions, okay? So during memory allocation,
Hmm.
what it does, it assigns all the variable to undefined and all the memory, all the function as it is. Like it will assign, like give the test as it is, okay, over here.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
test is there, so it is fine. Then again, once line number 12 will come, the execution of test will come into the place. Then another execution context will be created over here. So that time I'll start like assigning one by one. So it will have its own local memory. Let's say console log A you are doing. So this
Hmm.
console, so here what will happen? Again, A will be undefined initially, undefined initially. Then then you are assigning, you have two variables, right? A and B, right? So A and B both will be
Hmm.
undefined initially, and
Hmm.
then once the execution of the A and B will happen, so that will
Hmm.
become 10 and 20. So you will get 10 and 20 in that case.
Okay. Okay. So as we were discussing this difference of let and var. So can you tell me the scope of let and var?
Yeah,
Hmm.
VAD is late is a block scope, like inside this
Mm-hmm.
if from line number 2 to 6, like inside this particular block, late is
Mm-hmm.
that aligned into that particular block scope. But if I talk
Mm-hmm.
about VAD, like it is
Mm-hmm.
not having a block scope, it's a global scope. Late cons, these are block scope.
So now what will be the output for this console.log B line number 7?
Line number 7, you will have line. So in this case, outside this, I will not have access to B. So I'll have
Right.
error in this case.
Right.
But A,
Okay.
I will be getting it.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes. Please tell me.
hmm, can you tell me about arrow functions?
Yeah, so arrow function is nothing but kind of a new way. ES6 only gave us this feature to introduce this function. So the main
Mm-hmm.
thing is here in the arrow function is that the way we call the arrow function, mainly with respect to with respect to this, we can give the difference. For example, I have a simple function, this function, okay. So let's say I have an object over there. I have this function object. Let's say employee. So if I call emp dot test, so test is calling the this is employee, right? From where I am
Mm-hmm.
calling, that is the this. Okay. But in case of so the context of this is getting changed. From where I call, that will become the context of this for normal function. But in case of arrow function, what will happen? That is from where it is called. Okay, so that will be like where you are calling from, that is the reference of that this it will become. Okay, and another thing is like there is definitely syntactical differences there, that's not a major thing. Apart from that, like using normal functions, we can use as a constructor, like we cannot use arrow function as a constructor. But even like in case of normal functions, like we have that like arguments and other things, we can access it, but we cannot access that in an argument. Arrow function with a single parameter can implicitly return. So those things are the main difference.
Okay.
We use generally arrow function with map methods and like filter those things, like all those things. Mainly
Okay.
it is used as a callback also. We can use, I mean, we can use it multiple purpose, but depends on the context. Like if we have to make this changeable, then arrow function is not good for that. We need to use normal function only.
So, can you give me an example of a callback function?
Yeah, callback function.
And what is it?
Yes, please tell me.
And what is it like? What is a callback function?
Yeah, so callback function is nothing but, let's say I have a function, let's say this function, it takes int a. Okay, let's say it takes a as a parameter. Okay, so here a is a parameter for this function. Okay, so like that way, if any function takes another function as a parameter, so that function itself is called the callback function, and the outside function is called the higher order function. So generally callback functions will get executed. So we pass this as an argument to the another function, and it gets executed once the function is execution is finished. Like let me give an example over here only, so to better explain the same thing. Let's say function something greetings or something. If I do greet, so I am just writing a function, and let's say in this function I am greeting like two parameter name and another callback I am taking. Okay, and what I am doing, I'm console logging, console.log. I will print hello and then the name plus hello name. Okay. Okay, so I have a function that I am doing this, and then immediately after these things are done, callback will be executed. I'll define that. It will be executed, and then let's say I have another function goodbye. I'm trying to form an example. Let's see. So here I am just console logging goodbye. Let's say. Okay, so now the thing is, now let's say I am calling greet. Okay, greet with, let's say I am greeting myself only, Arghya, and after greeting is done, I am calling this goodbye function. Okay.
Okay.
So here what will happen? It will greet myself. Hello, my name will be printed Arghya. Then immediately the callback will be executed. Like in this example, what will happen? Greet takes two parameters, right? Name and callback. So here if I call greet, so greet will pass Arghya, my name, to this function, and then the callback function, I am passing this goodbye as a function. This function will also come over here, and then it will print hello Arghya, then bye. Let me test it also.
Okay.
Yes. So here, this is an example of the callback. We can write even asynchronous callback also inside set timeout. It depends on our use case. So mainly callback is nothing but when I pass a function as an argument, and here like the greet will be calling higher order function because it is using callback as a function. Similar way, map,
Okay.
filter, reduce, these all are higher order function. Those things takes a callback.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So, do you have a chance to, work on? Acha, you said you were working on Angular, right?
Correct.
Correct. So, can you tell me the difference between ng on init and constructor?
Yeah. So what happens? Angular itself is having its own lifecycle hook, like every other programming language having. So constructor is the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that gets like instantiated as a first thing method in the lifecycle hook. What happens? It's
Mm-hmm.
like in Java when we create any object, new student will be equal to new student. Similar things happens behind the
Mm-hmm.
scene only, but for us,
Mm-hmm.
constructor gets instantiated. So over here, what we do? We like all the class members and other things. We initialize those things with default value. Even the dependencies that we have, any service dependencies, pipe dependency, any other things, we inject them as a dependency. So that is the main thing in the constructor level. So after this thing is done, ng on init is getting called. That is basically if I have a parent-child relationship and something I am passing from parent to child, and so that time every time it will be triggered. What you asked, constructor and ng on init, right?
Right.
So
Mm.
yeah, this is ng on in it. So
Mm.
this will be called every time, like once any parent, if I pass something at that, like property binding and at that inputs array, so that time this will be called. So after ng on
Okay.
init is called, ng init will be called. Okay. So there
Okay.
the initialization things happens. We make the API call.
Mm-hmm.
Those things will structure over
So,
there.
I
ng
guess
tool
Simran
chain
is
will be
also
called.
here.
Yes.
Simran, you want to continue?
Yes, please. Yeah, you can
Sure.
continue. No problem.
Okay. So let's take a scenario where we have a website and multiple components are there, and you want to share the data between the components which are not interlinked with each other, means they don't have parent-child relationship. So, how the approach do you follow here?
Okay, so you mean to say defined components I have, but I don't have any parent-child relationships within that, right?
Let's suppose you have a header, right? And below header, there is a body section, the center of the page, where we have the another component, right? So whatever the changes I'll make in the component, the center part of the page, that it should reflect in the header component,
Okay, but these two are not related with parent-child, correct?
right?
Yeah, so there are multiple ways we can make those things. So first thing is data sharing. Second thing is content sharing. There is two way I'll discuss over here. So in terms of data sharing is concerned, if there is no parent-child relationship is there, the conventional method that we use is the services. Using service, we can write up injectable and provided root or any like all the application level or for the particular module
So
level.
injectable, as you are mentioning here, so injectable is necessary when you are working with the any of the services.
Like
Is it always necessary?
like it is if I create a custom service for my own for let's say API communications or something, some custom things I'm communicating with the IRCTC service to get something, then I need. But default services don't need injectable like HTTP and other services. I need to just import those things. Okay. Okay. So one thing is any questions on that point? I'll proceed after that.
No, please, you can
Yeah.
continue.
So one thing is services, as I mentioned. So using services, I can pass the data from body to header, and I can receive it. I mean, in the constructor of the like header, I can inject that service, and I can get the value. That is one thing. Second thing is you can like nowadays what I do in my current project that we do. It's a big application, so we are using Akita Store. Okay. So that is a part of NGRX like Akita Store state management we do. So once there is a kind of state is there, so it's the truth of like in entire data store you can say. So we dispatch an action like whenever someone will click something, so one action will be dispatched. So it will go to the particular reducers, and then it will take a slice of the update the slice of the state. Okay. So like that way we maintain a global state of the application. That is another way. Another scenario we have done is also using subject behavior subject. That is also a way to pass the data accordingly. And coming back to the content sharing, if we need some scenario, let's say body to head, some content we are trying to send or something. we can use content projections using ng content, and pass it. We can use select attribute if we have multiple contents to be projected. So these are the things. Shared services is one way, and second thing is stored is another way, and this subject things is another way. Okay, even using route also you can pass the data. So there are multiple ways. So these are the conventional ways we generally use for that.
Okay. Another question is, let's take, we have an array with the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 4 is missing in the array.
Okay, let me write it here. Let
Yeah.
error equal to 1, 2,
2, 3, 5, 6.
3, 5, 6. Let error equal to third bracket start 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Right.
4 is missing. Yeah, fine.
Right. So I want you to write a code where we can find the missing number from this array.
Okay, find the missing number. Missing number means how, like 4 is missing, you mentioned, I know. How I'll come to know what is missing? Like is in a
Right.
sorted
Right.
way, sorted order, what is missing?
Right.
Okay. I have an array 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I need to find the 4. Output should be 4. 4 as the missing number. Okay. So if I use it in this way, so let's say, let me get a function. So every time array will be sorted, the input that will give that will be sorted.
Yeah, we have taken example of this array currently.
Okay, let me try. Okay, let me let the missing numbers. I'll store the missing numbers in this way. So I'll run a loop for I equal to 0. I less than my length is error dot length minus 1. I'll complete the last contract and I plus plus. So what I will do is I need to check the element successor is expected or not. If not, then I need to switch that. So in this array, what can I do? If I have an array like this, this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, no, I have to 1, 2, 3, no, that's sorted order. Yeah, so if error I plus 1, I plus 1, I plus 1, I plus plus. I have an array. If error I plus 1 not equal to error I plus 1, then what will happen? Then I need to update the missing counter. Then let missing numbers process errors. So let's see error I plus 1, I plus 1 minus error I plus 1. If I have a so I will run a loop. So I will check every time. So the next element, the second element not equal to the error I plus 1. If I don't have that element, I don't have that element, then I will update the missing number. Then equal to error I plus 1 and minus error I minus 1. Okay, fine. Then I need another for loop. And to reverse it, take it again. and total number of counts I need to check. Missing number, no missing count, it is not the count. Missing count. Missing count. Missing count. Missing count. Of course, I need to know who's it into the missing numbers array. Missing numbers arrays. That was first letters error one subject. So in this way, how to make let me think. So I have an array. So I have a missing numbers. Things zero and that's the minus one plus plus with error I plus one with error I plus one not equal to error I not equal to error I plus one not equal to error I plus one. Then I need to find the count. So we have to missing count equal to I plus one minus one. Okay. And then I have another loop was for 0 to 0 equal to missing count missing count missing count plus plus missing numbers not push in plus check. So I have all the missing numbers available now. I believe if I need to console down the missing numbers, console dot log missing numbers plus missing numbers. Let me try it. Yeah, missing numbers are coming 3 and 4. Okay. I have missed something. Let me think about it. Why missing numbers are not right. I equal to 0 minus 1 I plus plus error I plus 1 error I minus 1. I missed something. Let me think about it. So I have an array 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I'm missing number. That's something non. That I put 0 minus 1 and plus plus. Length is plus 1. Error I plus 1 not equal to error I plus 1. Missing count. Change the console little bit here. So if I plus 1 not equal to I plus 1 missing number equal to, let's don't run this loop. Missing numbers equal to I plus 1 plus 1 and then I need to stop the loop also. That's why I have a missing number. I run a loop. Error I plus 1 equal to error I plus 1 next it is not equal to, then missing numbers equal to error I plus 1. Then I can break it and let me print missing numbers now. It's coming none.
Arghya, it's
Hmm.
taking a little more time. Let's talk about another question.
Yes.
Okay. So, how do you manage the performance of the application?
Yeah, so generally we think like what all like things are done. I'm still into this all. I'll get back to this. Yeah. So performance management, like generally in our application, generally what happened, it is a big application. So we extensively used observables and other things. Also, we need to check. It was initially taking longer time to load also. So we changed the Angular loading strategies. Like Angular loading strategies means that generally preloading or generally eagerly loading, lazy loading. So we check if that is eagerly loading is needed or not. Okay, so what all things are mandatory things. We directly load them in a eagerly loading way. Okay, and like if something we need on demand loading, we implement those lazy loading. Apart from that, we have our script loading, right? So during the script loading, what happens is that like we have we can have power to load the script in the head also, in the body, even at the end of the body also, end of the page also. But we are introducing that two boolean attributes like defer and async, right? So we need to align things properly. Even if you are using like observables and other things, we need or set timeout or something. We need to check we are destroying them properly. Any memory leakage is not having or not. Okay, so those things will eventually help us to like get more performance once it is concerned about the once it is concerned about the performance application. Okay, performance of the applications. So that is how we generally manage the performance. And even if we are using recursion and all other things, so that time we check like if we are using recursions and other things, we check like any memory leakage happening or other things are happening. So these are some conventional ways. And one more thing we recently introduced for performance improvement is that we are introducing GraphQL. I am using Node.js as a backend, right? So earlier, what used to happen, we call the API, we used to get everything in our hand. So we used to get everything in our hand, and that time, like if something is not needed, so we generally get the response, then filter it away, and then you utilize it in our program. But in GraphQL, what happens is that it brings, I pass the payload, client will decide what I need to bring. Okay, so those kind of strategies we are actually using in our project to optimize the performance. If you would like to know something specific, I'll be happy to share that. Even zone.ts, we have utilized it in a proper way for optimizing the Angular applications and all. So these are the some
Okay.
things that we use.
So, did you ever get the chance to work on the PWA's applications, progressive web
Progressive web
applications?
app like Red Bus application is there. I know the technology and terminology, but I have not got a direct chance to work with it. But I created lots of apps like in Angular, in Ionic, Cordova. There was a time in my previous organizations I have created lots of Angular applications that actually helped. But yes, I know the concept. Progressive web app is just like the websites, but it will look like a app. Okay, so that I did not get a chance actually. But if given the
Okay.
opportunities, I will be happy to learn the same.
So, you're saying you didn't get a chance to work on the PWAs?
No, I did not get a chance to work with the PWA.
Any idea about what's the difference between a regular web application or a progressive web application?
Yeah. So let me open the Redbus website. If I have a mobile, I could have explained it. Let's say this is a website, traditional website, okay? For example, okay. But these websites will not, once it is opened in the mobile, it will not look like an app. But if I do that, so that will make it responsive in such a way that it will be looking like an exact applications, okay? Like in mobile, the browser, the website only will open, but that will look and feel will be like a progressive web app. Okay, so that is the main thing in case of progressive web app.
Okay. Any chance to work on the service workers?
Yeah, service workers I have used like behind the scene in the background. If we try to utilize something, and if we try to utilize something, and that will keep on going for a longer time. Some response we are supposed to come.
Any
Okay,
implementations you have done till so far
not
with the
direct
service worker?
implementations, but know the concept of that.
Okay. Okay.
Missing here.
Arghya, we are done.
Yeah, it is done
Monalisa, do you
actually.
have
See, I was
anything to
doing a
ask?
missing over here. If you are on the call,
Okay.
you can see that. I was assigning it again, 1 second late equal to this. So that's why I was unable to print it. That 4. I think it is now working fine.
Okay. So can you explain what you have done so far here?
Yeah, so what I have done is that I am just running the loop completely and checking standing on the first position, checking if that is not the next one, okay. And then I am if that is not the case, then definitely I have a missing number. In case of 3, let's say once I equal to 2, so that time, so it is checking error 2, that means 3 is not equal to 2 plus 1, like 3 plus 1, right? 4. So that time I am just picking up that particular variable 3 plus 1, 4 into this. Just in order of n, it will be the complexity of it, in bigger order of n. So it will be executed in that. Space complexity will be order of n only.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Monalisa, do
Yes.
you have anything to ask here?
Yeah, so like I'm happy to know like what tech stacks we're using nowadays in PWC in the current projects for which the position is called for. Will be happy to know, and that also like how the work culture over there, and like what all things we are using as a front end, back end, like and in the cloud services. How do we work? If you just give a quick highlight, would be really appreciated.
Yeah, sure, sure. So currently, this requirement is project specific, where we are working on the latest version of Angular, and from backend it is SAP Spartacus,
Mm-hmm.
and we are using the agile methodology here. And environment wise, in PwC, it's very cool. It's not very stressful and kind of that. And apart from that, there are multiple tools which we are using related to project deployments and all that. It all depends on project to project.
Okay, got it, got it. Great, great, great. Happy to be part of it. Great, great. And
Yeah.
one last question, like I'm not asking about the interview feedback, but overall in last 45 minutes, how was my performance? Like that helps me to grow and in the next level. So that honest feedback is really helpful.
Mhm. Sure, sure. So till now, the coding wise or technically, I'll say it was from my end, it was good. I didn't get much time because it was 30 minutes call. Still, it
Yeah,
was up to 45 minutes. So
yeah,
didn't get chance to ask more questions on Angular.
yeah. If you if you have time, you can continue. I have no issues on that right now. I
No
took
issues.
leave
I'm
for that
good.
only
I'm
today.
good from my end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Mona Lisa, do you have anything to ask?
No, no, sir. Good from my end.
Okay. So Arghya, we are done with the questions. We'll share your feedback with the HR team. They'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining it and taking the interview
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
sharing the
Bye
feedback.
bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.